Tim here, and this is video game adaptation news, or vegan as I want to call it, or maybe not, because that sounds like vegan and I'm not. But anyways, guys, I went to shoot some footage today of some shooting downtown that I thought was The Last of Us, and it ended up being something else. So I wasted a day shooting the wrong film, but today wasn't a complete loss because a nugget of information was dropped. This little nugget of information is from someone who was an extra, but their name is blocked out, though it's probably not their real name, but they drop a pretty interesting story nugget. But again, I don't know if this person is just assuming that, according to what this person says, the set that they were in was around 80s, 90s in Jakarta, Indonesia. And this is them shooting inside of a Vietnamese restaurant that I made a video about the other day. But it's interesting because this person, according to what they believe, I'm not sure if this is what they were told or what they just believe with what they're seeing, but they would say that the set was maybe in around 90s Jakarta, Indonesia. I'm not sure what gave them that idea. Right here, this is the Vietnamese restaurant footage that I shot yesterday. So he's talking about this set. So inside there was, I guess, turned in to look like somewhere in the world. This person seemed to think it's Jakarta, right as this person's saying, and they were confused because they didn't finish the game to know the whole story. But there is an Indonesian general escorted by 2 police officers and 2 soldiers. He went to a local restaurant. Okay, so it's a restaurant playing a restaurant to find a young female scientist and talk about something. So the extra was one of the officers that was kind of on lookout, so he couldn't get to hear what they were saying. And he didn't see any of the characters, but he says he believes they're still working on the other set, which I'm not sure if he means the Canmore one or another area in town, because they're also shooting in Canmore right now. So what this says to me is that this is some kind of backstory that they're creating on the Outbreak itself, and perhaps how it started. Maybe it started in Indonesia. I mean, we don't know how. I mean, in the game just begins, and I mean, we all know how the game begins. Like all of a sudden, Joel and his daughter are home, and someone crashes through their window, and then all of a sudden there's just an outbreak. But they never showed how the outbreak began, how it got there, where it started. Was it already all over the world? To me, this is telling me that there's going to be backstory, way more backstory on the actual how the outbreak began. The infection in the Last of Us game is actually based on a real life fungal infection that infects insects. How the Last of Us cordyceps and how it spreads. So how does it start? Cordyceps brain infection is a fungal infection responsible for wiping out half society of The Last of Us. Even though the infection is central to the plot line of both games, the details in the original Last of Us, the outbreak initially begins in September 2013. See, I don't know about that. We don't know. They mean it begins in their city where they live, because it could have already been all over the world before it got to them, which no one really even covered or considered. The fungus infects an individual while they are still alive, as the infection can only affect living bodies, not dead ones. CBI can be spread through a bite from an infected individual or exposure to spores. Infected individuals go through 4 stages of infection, each being more grotesque than the next. The infected individual will begin showing symptoms in a couple of days, and then by stage 2 they begin showing aggressive and unexplainable behavior as the fungus takes hold of the brain. Fungal growth begins taking over the body, leading to deformities. So how did the fungal infection spread in the first place? There's a brief mentioning about it somewhere in the beginning of Last of Us 2. Actually, no, the beginning of Last of Us, when players find a newspaper clipping in Joel and Sarah's house. The article provides context on how the cordyceps infection started spreading in the first place, attributing it to mutated crops that originated in South America. So this here says that that originated in South America. So if this over here is saying this is Indonesia, but this could just be what this person thinks. This could, I don't know what made this person think that this is Jakarta, Indonesia, but it could be somewhere in South America, where according to this Screenrant article, that it originated in South America. The Food and Drug Administration's investigation of crops potentially tainted with mold continues across the country. The article reads, initial lists distributed to vendors nationwide warned against crops imported from South America, but now the scope has extended to include Central America and Mexico. The article seemed to imply the infection originated in South America, and some of the first places to become significantly impacted by the disease, including Mexico and Central America. It's like these places are faring similarly or even worse to them. Yeah, because they don't, in the game, they don't, you know, I guess that they're shut off from the outside world anyways. I mean, there's no way to communicate anymore. There's no news or newspapers or internet or anything, so there's no way to know how the rest of the world is. What do you think? I mean, these are all just theories, and one person over here is saying that it's set in Jakarta, but but over here in these other these Screenrant articles, but what do you think? I mean, this person is saying Jakarta, but maybe they just think what South America looks like Jakarta to them. Pretty interesting nugget of information dropped today by someone who was on set. Hope they don't get in trouble for this, but anyways. Thanks for watching, guys. Don't forget to smash that subscribe, like, share button. Do either one of those things. Doesn't matter to me. Just as long as it helps grow my channel. Thanks a lot.